Hello from the Down the Dun Hole podcast on a Freaky Friday. Yes, we were supposed to be having a hike today to go find a mysterious cave in the woods, but unfortunately, it's just me again. Our RF, short for resident folklorist, is still not in the pink yet. She's working on it though. And her voice is coming back little bit by little bit, but unfortunately not in time for our planned excursion today to find the cave of Saint Fulcrin. So, here we got, unfortunately for you guys, another incoherent ramble from me until RF is on the mend well enough to come back. But anyway, today I think I'm going to pick up some more on what I was talking about yesterday with the sort of the feeling of a place in the environment. There was other stuff that I would like to expound upon. If I didn't do enough of that yesterday, here you go. Here's part 2. And I know a lot of people, me too included, I think most people that I've talked to, that you feel, there's another example of what we're talking about here, is that sometimes you can be in a very crowded place and yet feel like you are completely not there. You know, maybe that you're looking at yourself from a distance on a screen or something like that. And people are around you. Let's say an example of a busy city street. I mean, so busy that you have to take most of your time avoiding other people bumping into you. So much that you can't look around and see where you're at when you zoom out to figure out what street you're on or whatever. And you feel like, am I even visible? I mean, I'm invisible here, it seems like, because I have to avoid everybody else. They seem like they don't even know that I'm here. And of course, on a smaller example there, if you're in a room with other people, same way. Obviously, this happens more often when these people in the room are strangers. But even so, when you know a few of them, sometimes it feels like you're being ignored and you're not really there. I've had that feeling quite a lot. And that's part of what we were talking about yesterday with not being really connected very well, or not in tune, so to speak, with your environment. And not totally your fault either. I mean, there are a lot of other reasons for that, I think. And unfortunately, for some people, you end up feeling that way all the time, when you're around people, when you're not, and that you might as well be invisible. And it makes you feel sad and like you don't have any real connections to anybody or anything. And believe me, I've struggled with that from time to time, because when I was young, I was extremely shy. I mean, almost unfunctional, to be honest, how shy I was. And going to school for me was really difficult. Most of the other kids seemed very outward and very social and all that. And that just wasn't who I was naturally. And, some of it could be my fault, or people who feel like that maybe you feel like you're a little antisocial or something. But I do think it has something to do with tuning into your environment. And you can change that by, like I discussed yesterday, by your position in the room, just some changes that you might be able to make, psychologically in your mind. But I will tell you that there are such examples in cultural differences. There are some cultures where they actually end up seeming rude because they really do kind of treat you like you're not there. And the reason is, in some cultures at least, that you haven't been formally introduced. There has to be some kind of a mini ceremony with introducing you as somebody. And until that happens, they don't know you at all, then you are kind of treated like you're invisible. But it's not your fault. It's just an odd cultural difference. In the United States, it's not so much like that. You can kind of just blurt something out to somebody And often, you will get a response, and maybe you'll start up a conversation or something like that. But there are other cultures where that just doesn't happen. It's considered to be rude if you just blurt something out without some nicety in the beginning, like some good day or how are you, and even that's not right, though. In some cultures, you're not supposed to ask how anybody is until you've done some other formalities before that, because it's kind of considered to be invasive. Like they're thinking, oh, well, why is this person asking how am I when they don't even know who I am? So there's some of that that's cultural, and there's some of that is, of course, just personality difference between one human being and the next, regardless of their culture. But it is odd, and there is that. There's a lot of variabilities with it. And like I say, some of it can be our fault, and we have to understand how to tune in better to our environment, or what can we do to seem more receptive to someone who may wish to speak to us, or, wonder who we are, or whatever like that. It is easier, of course, if you know somebody, like in the example of being in a room, if you know somebody in the room that can introduce you to people, that helps. But even so, what do you do next? And there's a lot of other people who do know each other a lot better, then they're going to end up talking to the people that they know better, and it's more comfortable for them, and so on and so forth. Never mind the difference between people's native languages. There's a lot of variability there. If somebody doesn't speak English very well or something, it's very difficult to communicate with somebody. And that can be a lot of it, actually. So, it's a lot of variabilities for that whole situation. But what I always used to struggle with was that, you're feeling a little bit, it will be an impact on your own feeling of self-worth. And that's kind of what I'm here to say today, that don't ever let that be the case. Don't ever let that be the case. You should never judge yourself harshly when something like that happens. And understand that you are somebody. Even if you don't feel like you are somebody. You're important to somebody. And, that's the way it should be in your mind. And just be confident in that. It's absolutely the way it goes. It's difficult. There's no question about it. Absolutely no question about that. But that's the way it should be done. So, yeah, don't worry.